It's on the replay thing. That's so cool. But anyway, thanks everybody for joining me for another version of Transformational Tuesdays. I'm Teresa Velardi, your host for this time of inspiration, education, motivation, and conversation that is focused on key ingredients necessary to create positive change in our lives, which I call transformation. I'm sure you do as well. So I'm really excited to bring one of my favorite people to Transformational Tuesdays today. And as you can see, we're wearing our crowns. We are in honor of Queen Esther. Our little tiaras here. So let me just give a little bit of information about our speaker today. And Reverend Tiffany Michele Williams, is an advocate for the empowerment of women and girls, and her passion is to teach women to discover their life purpose. Yep. And before I go any further, let me just mute everybody out for clear listening quality. I thought I did that, but I'll just leave you open, Tiffany. Hang on.
No problem.
Okay, there we go. And let me go back to your bio. All right, so she is actually, as I started to say, is an advocate for the empowerment of women and girls, and her passion is to teach women to discover their life purpose. Through the Esther Project, she leads women annually on a journey to prepare and position themselves to use their purpose as a platform for global impact. She has traveled throughout the United States and abroad, promoting the empowerment of women and girls, and has created the Esther Academy and the Esther Empowerment Network as a community through which Esther women can connect with empowering teaching and mentoring. Leveraging her professional background in law and public policy, Reverend Tiffany formed the Global Women's Empowerment Institute as a public policy and civic engagement initiative that propels civic leadership in issues impacting women and girls in crisis throughout the world. Her first book, The Esther Project, Every Woman's Guide to Living with Passion and Purpose, is an empowerment guide for women based on her experience with the Esther Project. Reverend Tiffany also has a passion for the arts, which she frequently uses in inspiring women and girls to live with passion through her vocal and dance performances. Reverend Tiffany serves faithfully at her church, the Upper Room Gospel Church in New Jersey, under the spiritual oversight of her parents, Pastors Bruce and Phyllis Williams, where she is a founder of the Leadership Training Institute. Professionally, she is an assistant professor of legal practice at Seton Hall University School of Law and is a former judge for the state of New Jersey. Prior to serving as a judge, Reverend Tiffany served as a deputy chief counsel to a former New Jersey governor, as a chief counsel to the Speaker of the New Jersey General Assembly, as a federal prosecutor, and as an associate in several law firms in New Jersey and Massachusetts. She began her practice as a law clerk for a Massachusetts appeals court, and Reverend Tiffany believes that her successes are attributed to her personal belief that nothing is impossible and that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Those are two of my favorite verses, and I am so excited to introduce you to my good friend and the women empowerer and the author of the Esther Project, Reverend Tiffany Williams. I'm so happy to have you here. Ladies, if
so happy to be here.
Tiara, put it on.
I'm so excited to be here, Teresa. You also are one of my favorite people. You know, we met all the way across the country in California and discovered we were both East Coast girls and Esther women, and we've been connected and supporting each other ever since. So it is my honor to be here on Transformational Tuesdays.
Oh, and my honor and pleasure as well to have you here. I have been waiting for this. We've been trying to put this together for the longest time due to busy scheduling and an incredible travel schedule, which I'm sure you're going to talk about, your travel to Africa and some of the things that are going on there during our conversations together. So, you know, first of all, before we go any further, for people who don't know, can you just talk about the Esther Project? What is it?
Sure. Oops, I think I just lost the video feed. Give me 1 second. Okay. The Esther Project is a women's empowerment movement. So the movement encourages women to uncover and discover their life purpose. I believe that every woman was created for a purpose, on purpose by God. And, and that is the key to living just a prosperous and happy life here on earth. So this movement is encouraging women, first of all, to be aware of that, to seek and discover who you are, what gifts you have that are meant to be shared with the world. And the movement also encourages women to build leadership skills around the gifts that they have, around the purpose that they're here to fulfill here on earth, and to use their gifts also to give back to women and girls who are in need. So it's a movement that really goes full circle.
Right. So, and let's just, for people who don't know what the what Esther means, let's just give a little bit of a background on how you are, how you have created the Esther project, and just give a little bit of and as to what the story is that drives this mission and project.
That's a common question that I do get. Who is Esther, and what's the significance of Esther being the name of this women's empowerment movement? So Esther is a queen, a Persian queen. She was a young Jewish girl who became in consideration to be queen, in pretty extraordinary circumstances in her culture, in her time. And I thought her story was very inspirational and very applicable to contemporary women. So in a nutshell, she was a young woman who had experienced some tragedy and adversity in her life. She was an orphan and lost her parents at a young age. She had to overcome that. She didn't wear that tragedy, as something that held her back in life. She was raised by a male cousin. I often think, wow, what if I were raised by a male cousin as opposed to my wonderful parents? I'm sure I would be tempted to not want to just completely succeed or use that as an excuse when I encountered obstacles in life. But Esther's story is inspirational because she pushed forward in life despite having what others may perceive as a setback. The other aspect of potential setback that Esther did not have going for her in society was her status. She was a Jewish young woman living by permission at that time in Persia. So, Jews had actually been in captivity. And once they were no longer in captivity, they were allowed to live by permission. And as you can imagine, thinking about this society, if we just allowed people, which we do through our immigration policies, to live here under certain conditions, there still is a level of a fear that you have of what if the rules change and you don't have a home. So this is also the social condition that Esther is being raised in. And so during this time, this woman is very unlikely to take on the role of the most powerful and influential woman in the country. So it's like Esther, in our society, being into contention to be the first lady. That's really all that we have to compare it to here in contemporary society. But Esther was successful. She competed against other young women. And it was truly not a glamorous beauty pageant. The society in which she lived, she didn't have a choice. So she was just taken into this, new place in the palace, prepared, given a new way to eat, a new way to think, a new way to dress, all to see if she could be selected as queen. But again, all this was very unlikely. However, one particular point that I think was really crucial in why I selected Esther to inspire women today in finding their purpose is Esther didn't quite know where she was going and being taken in life through this journey, but she had a positive attitude. And her attitude was one of being submitted to the preparation. So one of the premises of the Esther Project in inspiring women is for me to inspire women to be prepared for your purpose. We see in Esther's story through her preparation, she had to change a lot of things about her to prepare to potentially be a queen. So our first premise in the Esther Project is to prepare yourself. We see Esther actually was successful. She won the prize. She became queen. So queen represented a leadership position. So I encourage women in the Esther Project to take a leadership position so that you can develop and have a platform to share your purpose with the world. And our leadership position is not just for ourselves. And Esther shows that in her story, because she didn't just sit back and kick back and wear her tiara as queen. She actually was challenged when she was queen. Her male cousin that raised her, see, she stayed connected to her community and her family. He got word to her that an edict had come down and actually had been crafted by one of the king's advisors who actually had a racial bias against Jews. He tricked the king into issuing an edict that authorized a genocide against Jews. So Esther's cousin heard about it, told her, and challenged her. And this is the essence of the Esther Project. He challenged Esther that maybe she had been selected to be queen by God for such a time as this. Maybe she was the one that God wanted to use, and to use her influence on the king to stop this genocide that had been ordered against her own community. So Esther knew that the protocol of the time was that she couldn't just approach the king and ask something. It's like rolling up on President Obama with the Secret Service there. If they don't know what you're doing, they could pull out their guns and it's over. So the protocol was that she couldn't just approach the king. But Esther prayed about it, and she said, if I perish, I perish. She found something to give her life for. And she stepped forth, and she was successful in intervening and stopping that genocide. So I found that story extremely inspirational, and it's really the essence of what I try to teach women: to prepare, to position yourself for your purpose.
Wow.
So that's the nutshell version.
No, it's like crazy. I'm taking here. So I heard you say so much. And before I ask you the next question that I want to ask you about how it helps to empower women, I think you gave us a lot of the answers. So let me give back to you something I wrote down, okay? So Esther had to overcome. She had to overcome her social status. She had to overcome the fact that she was of a different religion, living in a place that she had permission. So, but she trusted the process through the whole thing. She had a positive attitude. She was prepared to have her purpose, to live out her purpose. She took a leadership role, and I want to talk about the leadership role here for a second, because you're taking such a leadership role with this Esther project, and I love that you use Esther. It's my favorite book in the Bible, and it is it holds so much information for women of today. And a lot of people say, well, how can the Bible written 2,000 years ago or beyond that, more than that, help me today? I encourage you to read the book of Esther, and you will find lots of different things. So taking a role, using her influence to face the challenges for such a time as this. Ladies, if you don't believe it, I'm going to tell you right now, this is your time. Regardless of how old you are, this is the age of women in this world making positive change and transformation in the lives that are around you. And you are in a transformational conversation. If you're hearing me, if you're listening to this replay, whether you're watching the replay, listening to the replay, somehow you're involved in this conversation, you are in a transformational role. So these are some of the ways that I picked up from what you just said on how it helps to empower women. What else do you have to add as far as empowerment tools to that conversation?
So, and you said a mouthful too. Number one, I believe that this project shows that the Bible is relevant for today. And so that's one thing that I have to emphasize, that, I believe that the Bible is full of stories of men and women that can inspire us each and every day. So this is one story. And it's not just a story. It's actually a historical event that happened. Esther was a real woman in history, married to a very famous, Persian king as well. So this is all documented in history, and it's even cross-cultural because there are different even religions that recognize Esther and her significance. So Esther's a real woman in history that we can learn from. And I just think that her story is so inspirational because she provides a role model for us. She confronted some of the same issues that we confront today. There are, racial biases. There are, from an immigration perspective, as I mentioned, people that are living in a country that don't have full immigration status and may feel that that's a barrier to them, achieving all that God has for them here. Particularly there are, individuals, that there's pending legislation now about who were brought here, as children, had no choice by their parents who were illegal immigrants, and they don't right now have a pathway to get legal citizenship here. That can truly be a barrier. So these are some of the same issues that Esther faced that we are facing today and can truly impact a woman's ability to move forward in being the leader that she's called to be. So I definitely think Esther's story is relevant for us for today. So I always tell women, as you know, Teresa, to look inside yourself and reveal the Esther inside of you. Our website is iamesther.org because our motto is I am Esther. So I think the story helps us as women to personify, that spirit of Esther in us.
Yeah, love it. And yes, I agree. There is that Esther persona in each one of us. And the question is, will you choose to connect with her? Will you choose to unlock her and use the power that God has given you, that you came here with? I have on my board, I share this a lot on Transformational Tuesdays, with so many challenges in the world, and what you said about, what you just said was awesome. And I want to point out that there is still, in a lot of places, even in this country, there are a lot of boundaries that are set for women and what they can and can't do and what roles they can and can't step into. And, there's a huge, Christine Kane really is on board this train of stopping the sex slavery that's going on with women around the world. So, I'm encouraging each one of you to really step into your power as a woman. And you said something earlier, take a leadership role and create a platform for yourself. This is my platform. The Esther Project is your platform. Mm-hmm. How are you going to get your voice heard by other women? How are you going to gather your community, your tribe, if you will? How are you going to be able to get your message across? And one of us, I have on my board here, if you'll appreciate this, I'll read it to you. It says, today and every day, I am fabulous, blessed, highly favored, living in my greatness with passion and purpose, using my gifts and talents, and all of God's great universe is conspiring in my favor. And that's exactly what happened with Esther.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So,
and I think a key to Esther's success, when Esther was at her critical moment of, being in her position, which many of us in society sometimes mistakenly think that the journey is getting this leadership position, but it's really just the place that we are to literally be located to use our gifts and talents to help those who may be vulnerable. And, we can't ignore that Esther, when she was at her critical point, when she was faced with this challenge by her cousin Mordecai, and he even said to her and warned her, don't think that if you remain silent, you will be saved, but God will raise up a deliverer from somewhere else. So we also have to remember and prepare that when we get in these leadership positions, we can't just kick back and enjoy the benefits just for ourselves. We have to look around and say, why am I, with my unique gifts and talents and my voice, literally here in this leadership position, even cataloging what is the influence that I have, who are the people that I have influence over, what is the vast network that I have, and how can I direct their energies to solve problems that I am aware of or that people bring to my attention. So it's also an obligation for us as leaders, as Esther women, to be connected to the community, to be accessible, and to have this spirit of service and global activism, where we believe it's our responsibility as women to seek out how we can help empower those that are in need and shine a light on darkness.
Well said. Well said. So how can, what are the personal benefits, and how can women get involved in the Esther Project? How can they engage in the Esther Project?
Well, I think when it comes to benefits, there is no greater benefit than waking up every day and knowing that you have significance in this world, that you literally know I have value that this world needs. And ladies, if you are connecting today, I want you to hear me very, very clearly. You matter. Your life matters. God placed a purpose inside of you. Jeremiah 1:5 says, even before you were a thought in your mother's womb. So your purpose actually pre-existed you. So that's how important and significant it is. So you were created on purpose for a purpose. So if you were invented and created with this great purpose in mind, you can't quite function well without being tapped into that purpose. So the main benefit of the Esther Project is your core identity is strengthened, which makes you a more intentional leader, a more intentional person. You can filter out, what are you even supposed to be doing in a day? How are you supposed to even dress, wear your hair? What sort of education are you supposed to be getting? Who are the people that you should be networking with and cultivating relationships with? So I believe that this project is really the cultivation of a lifestyle of integrity, of consistency in who you are and what you outwardly demonstrate to the world that you are. So that's a real core benefit. I have been involved in many leadership programs, many trainings, professionally, but I've never had a training where people truly try to tap into who am I, what was I created to be, and helping me and mentoring me through the process of the outward expression of that in the world. So I believe that that's something that makes the Esther Project unique and beneficial to women in the world. And as far as engaging with us, first of all, we welcome women from all walks of life. I often get questions like, is this just for, young women or girls or women of a certain, socioeconomic status? There are women all over the world and of all types of backgrounds and walks of life that identify with wanting to know why they're here on earth and being more intentional about living that out. So first of all, the engagement is for everyone. Second of all, you can engage with us by, first of all, reading I'll do a shameless plug here. The Esther Project, Every Woman's Guide to Living with Passion and Purpose. It's not a novel. It's really a guidebook to understanding the principles of the Esther Project, and I lay out for you how to really take Esther's life and incorporate it into yours. And I do that by sharing my own testimony and my own example. And I think the most important part of the book is the appendix, where there is a 6-month challenge for you that's laid out. It is weekly personal development, practical challenges that I encourage women to actually get an accountability partner, and do together, or the greatest area of engagement that we have seen in the Esther Project are when women get together in a small Esther empowerment circle, as we call it, and take this 6-month journey together. So women gather and meet. Some meet weekly. I'm working with some wonderful Esther moms in Cliffside Park, New Jersey. If any of them are on the line, hello. I believe Allison may be on the line. They meet weekly on their journey. Other women, our first empowerment circle, the Empowering Esther Divas, they met monthly, and they came together and discussed their feedback and any challenges and successes and insights and revelations, what it was like to achieve the practical challenges each and every week. So that is our primary focus of engagement. We want to create empowerment circles of women who are committed to taking these challenges. Once you've done the 6-month challenge, we want to take you further through our Esther Academy, which occurs on a monthly basis over the course of 6 months. We usually do it telephonically. But Teresa, now that I'm seeing this format, I'm thinking of using this platform for our future Esther Academy. This is awesome. So you get to feel the energy from people. But, in addition to that, we've started an institute to really teach women about the public policy issues that are affecting women in need. We have taken the principles of this project to a drug and alcohol residential facility in New Jersey to teach women that are truly in crisis and transition and trying to improve their lives, take these principles to them as well. So that's really the full circle of engagement. We're looking for you to take the journey, build your leadership skills through our Esther Academy, and then take these principles out to women who are incarcerated, in transitional homes, in homeless shelters, and internationally as well. And we can talk more about our global impact later on. Teresa, are you still there?
I'm so sorry, I muted myself because I had a little noise going on in the background. So if you are somewhere, got some noise going on in the background, I hear a few things and you're not muted, check your system. If you're not muted, I can't mute you. So if you would mind doing that, that would be awesome. So what I wanted to say is let's go there, because I know you're going to other countries and you are bringing the Esther Project, and we actually talked about how we could involve those people in this conversation, and some of them may actually be here. So let's go there for a minute, and then I want to say to everyone who is on the phone and is not here, we're going to open up for question and answer very soon. I'm not going to unmute everybody, but if you're on the phone lines and you have a question, what I would like you to do is text me at 570-230-4185, and I will recognize that you have something to say, and I will open your line so that you can speak directly to Reverend Tiffany. And if I can see your face, just wave your hand and I'll open your line, okay? So thanks so much. And so let's talk about what's going on in the other countries around the world, Tiffany.
So, I'll do that in the context of just kind of giving a bit of a personal testimony also about, how I even got started, doing this work. 6 years ago, I was appointed as a judge in the state of New Jersey. And during the, about a week or two before I was sworn in, my ceremonial swearing in, I had a relationship that broke up. Ladies, you know how it is, okay? I was looking to get married. A man broke up with me. Critical part in my life. It's always about a man with us, ladies. Sorry, it's always about a man. But I was devastated, and I was more devastated not necessarily because of that particular relationship, but because being married was something that I had always seen for myself much earlier in life. I have beautiful parents who modeled marriage so wonderfully for me. And hi, Mom, if you're on, Co-Pastor Phyllis. She's such a wonderful support to the Esther Project. She is the backbone of it. So I had this wonderful model of marriage, and I always wanted that for myself. So for me, this was really a like thing between me and God now. Like, God, this is my dream. And why is my dream like not coming true? You know, and then I'm like, I'm serving you, I'm a minister, you know, I think I'm a good person, you know, all of that stuff. And then I'm in this woe is me sort of prayer sort of thing. And as I'm woe is meing, you know, I'm praying and I hear the Lord really saying, are you ready? And I had to be honest. And I was like, no. So I heard a response that said, well, just get ready. So I, you know, decided to just take a period of time and just prepare myself and do things that I knew I just had to do in my life before you can join your life with another. So I was also preparing some remarks for women's conference, and it all came together. My personal struggle that I was going through, this concept of preparation, and the remarks for this women's conference. And so the words that I shared with women that day at the conference were encouraging them to take the story of Esther and to really go upon this personal Esther journey and take a period of preparation for the things that you feel that God has put on your heart. For me, it was very personal in that it was this quest, so to speak, in my mind to get married that I'm preparing for. But I was encouraging women, whatever's in your heart, whatever dream, prepare for it. Use Esther as an inspiration. I discovered something so much deeper than marriage. I discovered my purpose. I discovered that God was really calling me to lead a generation of women, not just in this country, but in this world, to discover who they are, to be leaders, to defy glass ceilings, to defy what the social norms are about the limits that women can have, and to empower them to know that God is calling women in this hour, in this world, to use technology to collect women in a great empowerment network, and to look out for our sisters who are struggling, the ones that no one can see and they're struggling, the ones that no one goes out and looks for and checks on every day, but they're struggling and they're in crisis, and some are in bondage. So I had this great fire that was just, you know, sparked inside of me for women globally. So about a year after this project, which went from a sermon at a women's conference to this development of the 6-month challenge, to passion inside of me to lead women, to build their leadership skills and to connect it with causes and women throughout the world that they can help. So in 2011, through my best friend Tawanda Thorne being in Belize, stationed in Belize in Central America, we first brought the Esther Project to Belize and started an empowerment circle of women there. And then last year, I traveled to Uganda and connected with some amazing women. I mean, I went literally almost on a whim and came back with, the most incredible network of resources of men and women. Had been on television twice there, on the cover of their national newspapers. The Esther Project, absolutely went over just amazingly well. So what we've decided to do, I'm going back actually next month, and we're establishing Esther Academies at a teenage pregnancy center where there was, unfortunately, a 10-year-old who pregnant being serviced by this organization, which is so compassionate, Wakisa Ministries. So we are partnering with them to establish an Esther Academy so that these principles that we are all benefiting from as women can be instilled in the girls that are there during this part of their life, as well as a women's home, a day program for women, and most of the women are younger, that's run by New Faces, New Voices. It's the Gracia Michele House. Gracia Michele, as you may know, is the widow of Nelson Mandela, and New Faces, New Voices is an organization that she is the head of. and the Uganda chapter is run by some awesome women of integrity there that I'm partnering with to do an Esther Academy. There's so many more outreaches that we're working on and partnerships with NGOs in Uganda as well. But we are very serious about developing a network throughout this world. And my vision is to have Esther Empowerment Centers on every continent in this world. So we are doing our fundraising also for our Uganda Impact on our website. If anyone's interested and your heart is to send, your resources there, you can connect with us to do that as well. But Teresa, we are extremely excited to bring the Esther Project around the world, and we welcome every woman's participation here. And if you have connections in other countries, we welcome that too, so that we can start establishing relationships.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I know that my good friend Beth Johnson from the International Women's Leadership Association, she has international connections. And I'm going to try and unmute her. In just a second, and while I figure this out, because I think I know that this. Let me see here. Beth, is this you?
I'm here.
Oh yes,
I am here. How are you?
Good.
Hi, Beth.
Good. First of all, I have to say, Tiffany, first of all, God bless you in your ministry. And you deserve so much appreciation for what you're doing. And I also want to say congratulations to you for all of your accomplishments, as in your education and in your business world. So admirable. I want to add something. I had the great pleasure and the blessing of marrying and performing the wedding ceremony of my nephew Matthew to a magnificent woman whose name is Esther. So I did a little research on Esther, and I want to point out that in today's day and age, we kind of, it's been interpreted that it means star of God.
Yes.
And I love that because it was so applicable to now my new niece. Well, we always say here at the International Women's Leadership Association, when they say, we have to connect the dots, I say, no, we need to connect the stars. Which means then we need to connect the Esthers. We need to connect the women. When we connect stars, we create what is known as constellations. And for time, forever, constellations were used by the travelers. They were used to get people from one place to another. And I love how that kind of resonates with the IWLA, with women everywhere, is that women are the direction. Women are that shining star that takes anybody from one place to another, that gets one goal accomplished at a time. Follow the women, follow their lead. They will take you where they need to go. And women need to recognize that, of course, in themselves, but in every other woman as well. And when you say that every woman, be prepared for your purpose, there are no excuses. I truly believe women are prepared. I think what we have to do is sit down and really define what our purpose is, at least in that moment, and be very willing that while you're following your stars, where you're following that constellation to where you're destined to be, just be willing to keep an open mind, open eyes, open ears, because sometimes, and I'm sure you would both agree, everyone would probably agree, that sometimes you see things a little bit of a different way. Sometimes the light in that moment focuses you differently. Be willing to just make those changes, those modifications, those edits, if you will, and be willing to not be so stubborn as women sometimes tend to be. So when it comes to women, I think there's nothing that's not possible. I think for all of us, we have to just say there are no excuses. The purposes surely outweigh any excuse you can come up with. And whatever your purpose in this moment is, just get busy about it. The next purpose will appear. Yes. The next star that you connect to will take you where you're destined to be. Thank you again. This is just a lovely, lovely conversation. to be hearing. Thank you.
And Beth, I'm very inspired by what you said. And I think of my own testimony here. I was focused on wanting to get married. And I was also focused on, really honestly at that time, thinking that being a judge was going to be, my highest kind of professional aspiration in my career. And little did I know that God was actually birthing in me this worldwide ministry to empower women, and being a judge was not going to be the end of the road for me. I mean, everyone in my profession thinks I'm crazy for having in January, resigned from my judicial appointment and, became a law professor. And I really did that also for my passion for teaching, but because I knew I wanted a different type of platform and flexibility to be able to take the Esther Project where God was leading me to take it. So, I kind of jumped off the cliff professionally of what I thought in my mind where I would always be. But as you said, Beth, when you open your mind to, kind of what God is calling you to in that moment, it will lead you to your destiny and places you never thought that you could go. So thank you for those remarks. And it's just inspiring and confirming in me that I'm not crazy to quit my judgeship and pursue my passion.
No, I don't think you are.
No, not at all. It's like Bill Gates telling his parents, that he was going to drop out of an Ivy League school to start this business in the garage.
Right.
It sounded crazy in the moment, and yet seeing that opportunity and recognizing that purpose in that moment has totally changed the world. From that one decision that he was courageous enough to make.
Yes.
And I think what every woman can also identify with, it's like saying, I want to lose 50 pounds. And okay, great. 1 pound at a time, 1 step at a time, 1 star at a time. Mm-hmm. And suddenly all of those accomplishments are in your rear view mirror, and you're there sometimes without realizing it, because women, we just keep looking forward, and we're looking to the next star, creating the next purpose, the bigger purpose. And talking to women all around the world, I just find this is truly what is part of the core value that every woman has. It's very heart-centered in every woman.
And I just want to give a shout out, because I just saw flash across the screen, one of our Esthers from Nigeria is on, and she's going to be starting an empowerment circle in Nigeria as well. And I just wanted to give Chimeze a shout out too.
She has been popping in and out, and I'm hoping that she will pop back on. So
okay.
Yeah, and that's Nigeria. We have Nigeria. We have people from all over the country here. I'm looking at the area codes, but I want to just say that the two between Beth and Tiffany right now. I was going to ask you what advice you would give women who are struggling to find their purpose, yet also struggling to find time to dedicate to discovering it. And I think you ladies started to answer that question. So, Reverend Tiffany, can you expand on that a little bit for me and for our listeners and our viewers about the struggle? I mean, you talked. I just want to acknowledge you for really listening to your heart. I think that in today's day and age, I know that you were the youngest judge, the youngest female judge to ever sit on the bench anywhere in the country. And for that, I want to commend you for having, number one, the courage to do that. I know that it was one of your goals. But then also to have the courage to know that that part of your life was over and that God was leading you somewhere else, so that you could be able to give more visibility to this platform, which is your passion, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I would just want to let you know. And I think that speaks to the question that I just asked you about struggling to find your purpose and struggling to find time to dedicate to it. So let's finish that up a little bit for people who are listening.
Yeah, well, thank you, first of all, Teresa, for that, encouragement and, listening to your heart. To me, your purpose lies in your heart. God speaks to you kind of through your heart. So when you're listening to your heart, you're listening to the essence of who you are and what you've been meant to be when you were created. And I think that is why you can't afford, for those of you that may be thinking, I don't have time to add something else to my life to focus on. You can't afford not to. You know, listening to your purpose and being intentional and purposeful and honoring that is how you maximize your time here on earth. I see sometimes a lot of women transform through the Esther Project because they realize that following your purpose is a natural filter to what you should be doing in life, literally. You begin to realize what people or which people in your life may be wasting your time and maybe draining you. Our pre-challenge to the Esther Project is called Declutter. And we focus on decluttering people, relationships that don't serve us. And it's not that you throw everyone away, but you have to redefine relationships and be conscious of who is close to you and meant to sow into you in a particular season. As well as how you organize your space, how you organize your calendar, where you are literally, and what is the time in your calendar that you're dedicating to do the things that you were meant to do, including and starting with, because some women get overwhelmed. Well, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Well, start with, what are you good at? What are your gifts and your talents? Your purpose is connected to what you're good at, what you love to do. When you were a little girl, what could you do all day? If you had all the financial resources that you needed, what would you spend your time doing? So I think you can't afford not to take the time to think about these things and commit to yourself to structure your life in a way that's consistent with who you are and what you were created to be. Otherwise, there's always going to be an internal struggle.
I agree. Totally agree. For a long time, I sold insurance. I knew it wasn't my purpose, but then again, at the same time that was going on, you want to talk about marriage, I married the wrong person. So, you got to pay attention to the messages that you get in your heart. When I stood at that altar, I knew I was making a mistake, but I wrote about it.
That so much, Teresa. I hear that so much. The people know. It's not that they don't know. Some people.
And I recently wrote a chapter for a book that's going to be coming out very soon. And I wrote the story, Listen to the Whispers. So, and if you listen to the whispers of your heart, that is your direction. That's your GPS. That's your guidance on where you're going. It'll tell you whether or not you should put the brakes on and rethink, or you should, move forward full speed ahead. So, the struggle, I think that some of the struggle, as we were just talking about, will get alleviated if, in fact, you listen to those whispers. So, our friend from Nigeria is back. Would you like to say something? How do you pronounce her name, Tiffany?
Chimezi? Hi. You're unmuted if you want to say something.
Hi.
Hi. Everyone can hear you. So I was saying that you were on all the way from Nigeria and that you are going to be starting your Esther Empowerment Circle. So our host, Teresa, was just asking if you wanted to say anything.
I hope she can hear us. So,
I think there's a delay.
I think there's a delay, but hopefully she'll come back and she'll speak up.
Yeah.
If anybody who's listening wants to speak up again, let me just tell you, text me at 570-230-4185 and I'll open your line. But pay attention. I mean, you have paid attention to those whispers of your heart that have led you into a different direction. And I think most of us, because of outside influences, think that, I should do this because I'll make more money. I should do this because of whatever. Or I should marry this person now and in this moment because look at everybody who's here, and the heck with the fact that my heart is telling me no.
Right.
So I mean, I have learned throughout my life to be able to do that. And that is a huge piece of why the Esther Project is now reaching out across the globe, because you changed your focus and made this a priority in your life. So what's your vision for the Esther Project, the impact on women around the world for the years to come? What do you see happening? I'm so excited to hear this.
You know, my vision is that we will have a generation of identifiable Esthers throughout the world through this project, that we will have Esther empowerment circles that are throughout the world, and that those circles would become Esther empowerment centers, that they would be places that women in the community know that they can come to when they're struggling, when they're hurt, when they have nowhere to go, that they are places and resources that women can go to when they want to connect with like-minded women who want to change the world and help empower the world. That there will be places that, we can even look to for thought leadership on strategies on a legislative level as to, how to continue to empower women to be in leadership positions in every sector of society. And that's some of the work that I'm really looking to advance in our Global Women's Empowerment Institute. I want us to be looked to determine how do we help women to empower the world. I think that when you do empower women, you empower a whole community. And I want the Esther Project to also be identifiable women who are shining light on darkness. There's a lot going on in our society right now. And one thing that we are seeing on television is a light being shined on some darkness. So we need people, we need women who will shine light on darkness. We need women who will transform the dark places into light places. Some women will need to speak truth to power. Some will need to be in the position of power to change policies. So I see, and my vision for the Esther Project is that we will have all those different types of women in a network connected with strategies and just a force behind us that is the Spirit of the living God. And we know that if God is for us, who can be against us? And I do have to say that I believe that our upcoming generation of young women need to see the example of empowered Esther women changing the world. They need a better example than they're seeing portrayed on television of what womanhood really is, of what it means to be a woman leader, and what your responsibilities are as well, because to whom much is given, much is required. So I believe that this generation of Esther women through the Esther Project will also be important role models to sow seeds and to mentor and guide the next generation of women leaders as well.
Awesome. Great response. And now, so how does, I know I've participated in an Esther Academy, and you have them on a regular basis. I don't know if you have anything upcoming, or how does somebody get in touch with you to find out more about either an Esther Academy, how to get the book, how to connect with you if they are willing to create an Esther Circle?
Awesome.
Contact.
Well, we do have a website that you can visit. I am Esther. That's IAMESTHER.org. But everyone on this call, I would love to connect with you personally. So I invite you to definitely check out the website, and there is a link to get the book on the website. The book is also on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com. But I would like to really connect with each of you as well. So I invite you to email me, Tiffany at IamEsther.org. My name is spelled Tiffany, Tiffany, at IamEsther.org. IamEsther.org. So I invite everyone to send me an email and we'll get you connected.
Awesome. And if you don't have your crown as Queen Esther, go get one. And
And Teresa, if you host a book signing, then your books come with crowns for you and your guests.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Connect with us. Let us know if you would like to host a book signing. And even if you want to do a virtual book signing, we can maybe do a platform like this and still be able to send you your crowns and your books.
Awesome. So much great stuff, Tiffany, Reverend Tiffany Williams. Thank you so much for joining me. I want to make sure that if anybody has any questions, anyone who I can see, if you have a question or you want to be heard or you want to contribute something, please just raise your hand and I'll open your line. I would love to be able to do that. Anyone else who has anything to say, if you want to, oh wait, I have a text. Hang on a minute here. Let me see.
And I see my mom is on the line. Hi, Mom.
Oh, actually, I think she's the one who just messaged me.
Oh,
and this is, I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to also ask, this is, I think this is her. I don't know. Is she on? Oh, no. Yeah, she's here. Oh, she's raising her hand. Okay, let me unmute you. Hello, Phyllis.
Hi. Can you guys hear me?
yes.
Yes.
Hi. I'm on and I'm enjoying the call. I've been on for a while now. I was on audio first, and I just want to say that it really, really, really gave me just a shot in the arm for the rest of the day. I'm just so proud of what I'm hearing coming from not only Tiffany, but the hostess as well. So I thank you for truly making my afternoon.
Well, thank you for being here. I know that you are a huge influence to my dear friend, and I hope one day I will be able to speak with you directly. I'll be able to see you directly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I was hoping to be able to get to an event that you had in New Jersey, and unfortunately I took ill and I wasn't able to make it, but I am looking forward to the next event that you have, the Gladiator event, Miss Tiffany.
Yes.
And I would gladly go to that. And I see Tanya Vilar has joined us with her crown on.
I see Tanya with her crown.
Okay. And I have a text from Allison. Allison.
Oh.
Yeah,
Allison Lee Connor.
Yes, and she's got her little ones in the background, so it'll be a little easier for us to do this. She looks forward to the book, but here's what she wrote in her text. Hi, Teresa. Thank you for this platform and the opportunity to glean and to share. I was invited by Pastor Tiffany to join your amazing call, and I'm beyond inspired. Well, thank you for that from both of us, Allison. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your nugget and testimony regarding listening to the whispers of your heart. Yes, indeed. You're so welcome. The Holy Spirit surely does minister to our hearts. Amen, sister. I just had a comment in that I wanted to thank Pastor Tiffany for her time, as she has carved out time with my life group, and we have been challenged and blessed beyond measure. I am also excited for what God has in store for Pastor Tiffany and each and every Esther participating today on this Transformational Tuesdays. I am truly going to ruminate all that was shared. God bless you all. So that is from Allison. And Allison, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Appreciate you more than you know. And I hope you will come back for another conversation on Transformational Tuesdays. And Tiffany, do you want to respond to that?
Thank you, Allison. Allison is a part of a new Esther Empowerment Circle of some phenomenal moms. You know, you asked the question earlier, Teresa, about, you know, those who may not feel like they have the time to dedicate to the project. Well, can you imagine how mothers of young children would feel? But these moms have come together. They were already in a life group at their church, on fire for the Lord and dedicated to coming together on a weekly basis in order to, you know, spiritually develop. And, you know, by a wonderful divine connection, I was able to connect with them and offer the Esther Project as some content for their life groups. So they have taken the time. They bring their children with them as well. So I just want to give them a shout out. And I know that the best is yet to come. And I look forward to seeing you ladies on Thursday. So they are our newest circle. And also, I'm not sure if Minister Alicia Fields from Pennsylvania is on, but we have another Esther Empowerment Circle of young professional women who are starting in the Philadelphia area as well, in Norristown area. So if they're on, I just want to give them a shout out too. These are our two newest circle of Esther women. So pray that their transformation will be all that God has called it to be.
Amen. This has been amazing. And let's see here. Yeah. So Allison has sent her tiara. She sent her crown in the text. So thank you for that. So I just want to acknowledge each and every one of these women. If you're on this call today, not only are you on a transformational journey, you are on a transformational journey with purpose. And each one of you has a connection to Esther. The Esther within you is coming alive, and you're making it known by the fact that you have come present on this call, and by your participation in the communities that are being built in the areas where you live, and your connection to Reverend Tiffany. So, and I love that. I love that our friend from Nigeria keeps popping in and out. This is so cool that she's here. I would love to hear her voice. And Tanya is from New Orleans area, Louisiana.
I was in New Orleans last year, and there's some Esther women who are very interested there too.
Yeah, and she's transforming lives in her own way. I'm on a team with Tanya, and we're doing some great things. And, you know, I just would love, and I'm going to say this out loud, and you girls can hold me to this. I would love to be able to host. I'm very active in my church, and I would love to be able to put together an afternoon, whether we do it through the church or whether we do it through on my own. Put together an afternoon for women to come and learn from you about the Esther Project. And I love the book signing idea and the tiaras and everything. I've been just waiting for the call to wear this tiara, and I got it today.
So, I'm there whenever you say the word, Teresa.
Okay, we'll talk about putting that together. So thank you to everyone who came to the conversation. Tiffany, do you have anything else you want to share last minute? Please give your contact in this time once again for people to connect with you. We have gone just a couple minutes over, but I am so excited that you were here.
I am so excited as well. And you were right. The hour went so quickly.
Yes.
So, ladies, I do want to reiterate what Teresa said. For each and every one of you that joined this call today, I want to personally thank you from the bottom of my heart for being the object of my ministry today, because if we don't have an object for our purpose, then we don't feel intentional. So there is an object for your purpose out there. I encourage you to let God continue to lead you to your purpose. You know, I have never in my life been happier, more fulfilled, and it's not in the ways that I thought. I probably make less money now, technically, than when I started my legal career, but that's temporary because I'm in a transition. But I did not let that thought dissuade me from going the path that I knew I was called to go. And what God has shown me is the truth and essence that my God shall supply all of my needs according to his riches and glory. And when we can remove the fear of what if we don't control the outcome, what will happen, that's where our faith kicks in. When we get to that place of faith, we really understand that anything is possible. I am at that point in my life, and I know there are even higher heights of my faith for me to go. But I want to assure you that revealing the Esther inside of you is going to reveal a place of passion and peace and zeal for that which God has put in your heart that no man can quench. I often say my theme song is "That Girl is on Fire," because I am like this burning inferno, and a fire consumes and transforms everything it comes in contact with. And that is what I was meant to do here on earth. So I encourage you to connect with me, Tiffany, at IamEsther.org. But if you don't, and you just take the seeds of what you have received today, I pray that this message will stir up the gifts inside of you, that it would stir up the fire inside of you, that you would yearn for more of God. If you don't know the Lord, I encourage you during these times in our world to seek a relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ. I am nothing without Christ. All of those accolades that Teresa read, that is my testimony of what God can do with a yielded heart and a yielded spirit. And those accolades, by the end of my life, that's going to be nothing compared to what God is going to do through me, because I am withholding nothing from him. So I love you with the love of the Lord. Know that you are valued. You are so important in this world. Get out there in this world and shine. The world needs you. Thank you, Teresa, so much for this opportunity. And you keep letting God use you to transform women's lives on Tuesdays and every day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I just love the illustration of the fire. Stand as the embers fall onto you and catch fire yourself. For the project, for your life, for those around you, for God. Just really take this conversation into your hearts. Get out of your head and stay out of the what if conversation. Take this conversation into your hearts. I invite you to take those last words that Reverend Tiffany said, embrace them for the rest of this day, and then share with us. Go to Transformational Tuesdays on Facebook, or share with me, Teresa Velardi, on Facebook underneath the post about this. Share with me how your day is different because of this conversation. I invite you to do that. Or email Reverend Tiffany at IamEsther.org. And join us again next week for another conversation, which will be on leadership. And my good friend Beth Johnson is going to be joining us for that conversation from the International Women's Leadership Association. So come back.
Yes.
We are here every Tuesday at noon on this platform, and we'd love to have you there. Meanwhile, go to transformationaltuesdays.com, get your transformational journal as my gift to you for coming here, and I'll see you all next time. Enjoy enjoy traveling as what I like to call the transformational trails of life. See you all next time. Have a great week.
Bye, everyone.